Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's News Beef, not only are we going to be answering some of your questions, we've also got news on a certain former AAA wrestler heading to AEW, John Cena talking about his final match, and the latest on Seth Rollins' injury, which is what we're going to kick off with today. Larson, what is the latest on the Visionary, the Revolutionary's leg?
So let's go back to our Tuesday Raw recap. So there's a report from PW Torch's Wade Keller. Seth Rollins had injured his left leg during the main event of this week's Raw and his match against Jinder Mahal. Shortly after, Sean Ross Sapp tweeted that sources indicated to him that more would be known about Seth's injury either on Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Thursday, right?
Yes, it is. Correct. And today is Thursday.
We haven't heard any concrete news regarding Seth's status. However, Wade Keller spoke about what he had heard, what he hasn't heard, and why all of that might be concerning. So these transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. There's a lot here.
Yep.
So be patient with me. We'll get through it, and we'll talk about what this all can be. This is what Wade said. Connecting some dots, I'm thinking it's not good news, but I don't know how bad the news is. The reason for that is I've asked a bunch of people, some of whom would likely be privy to what's going on, who won't comment. I understand there's internal policies on that, but I would think if he was fine and he walked it off, then we'd be hearing that. Now, it's possible they're going to do a story on television because the news of Seth's injury has gone crazy. I don't know how many dozens of websites quoted my breaking. This is Wade Keller, not me. Quoted my breaking news story on Monday night, but obviously people who are on social media and Reddit know about the fact that he was legitimately hurt and limping backstage, and everyone quoted my reports on that. They could be doing a storyline where they're going to play into that on TV and go from a situation where Seth's knee is not that bad and play it up as if it's some sort of storyline. So I'm throwing that out there as a caveat to the hunch that I'm getting from colleagues of his and other people in WWE. You either think it's bad news and WWE's probably going to have Seth announce something on TV, or they're just waiting for more test results to get something more definitive, or they want to control the narrative on him at this point because people who know aren't commenting. Take a quick break here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I saw this. I don't remember the timing exactly. Maybe it was. Oh no, this report came out I think before I actually watched Seth's match on Raw. So I think this came out pretty soon after Raw concluded.
Live. The original thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know they're doing. I'm not. This is just a conspiracy, if you will, in my mind.
Yeah. No.
So
absolutely.
I'm not trying to dispel Wade's reporting on this, but
I know where you're going with this. I have speculated in the past that maybe Adam Cole's injury wasn't a real injury, but now it's clearly is.
It was a real injury.
Wrestling blurs the lines. We're adults.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, how many times have a news story broke and people are like, oh, this has got to be a work when it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And that's the history of pro wrestling. They've often, as you mentioned, blurred the line between, real and kayfabe a lot.
Trying to be respectful here.
Exactly. So this discussion as follows is not trying to dispute or dispel Wade's reporting on this. Given Seth's story, for the most part, is he's the workhorse and his body's breaking down when Seth decides to sell back, that is.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And given how quick Michael Cole, I know he's one of the best in the business at commenting, given how quick he was to point out, he must have hurt his knee. One of the first things I thought of was, this is advancing the story of Seth breaking down because he's wrestling a lot.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And this is another angle they're taking to that story. And maybe that wasn't, in the case where Seth actually did hurt his knee, maybe it wasn't that bad. That's something they can maybe run with, which is what Wade mentions here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would fit into the story they're already telling with Seth. So he's got a bad back. Guess what? His knee's blown too.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one angle. I'm surprised, honestly, that I didn't see more people talking about that aspect of it online, because any wrestling story that's out there, people are like, they're working us. They're working us.
It was only 2 months ago, a little less than 2 months ago, that CM Punk came back. Seth Rollins, after cameras were rolling, pitched a major fit, thinking that, with knowing that fans would be rolling on their phones, and then goes backstage. The reports were backstage, Seth Rollins was pissed off and went backstage.
Had to be held back.
Right. So if again, understanding, trying to be respectful of the situation here and understanding that wrestling is an entertainment form that, likes to blur the lines, it would not be unprecedented even over the past couple of months for some backstage thing to be worked so that with the understanding that leaks happen and it comes out. I have started to wonder and with completely understanding that Sean Ross Sapp works his ass off. Dave Meltzer, I think, works his ass off, even if he is those other guys. And similar with Wade Keller and a couple others in the industry, they do a really good job. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't shock me to see, because Triple H is a super savvy guy, to see him try to a degree to quote unquote work the sheets. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that was the case for the CM Punk stuff. I don't think that was that. I think that what happened, Triple H corroborated. There were talks, they broke down, there was nothing, and then they actually came to a deal. And Sean's reporting all lines up with that. People who say, you said he wasn't showing up. I think that's silliness. But it would not surprise me Seth Rollins going off backstage about CM Punk, him pitching a fit down, in front of fans about CM Punk. Clearly understanding that the story doesn't even stop even when you're backstage, because things do get out.
Yep. And
it's smart, it's savvy to try to control the story in that manner. Why wouldn't they do that? So, I mean, it could absolutely be something. And if it does, that's an absolute bummer for what's been a pretty solid title reign for Seth Rollins and just him as a terrific performer. But yeah, these days you never know. Like we'll find out if he's out there doing anything physical on Monday. We can usually suss out, okay, what level is this reaching? If they come out on Monday and say we're vacating, you probably are pretty damn sure that it's a real deal.
Obviously, he hurt his knee. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because they wouldn't throw away a potential headlining match at WrestleMania between Rollins and Punk for an injury angle. They wouldn't do that. That'd have to be a legit injury.
I would be really surprised. I mean, you'd have to get into some real Triple H. I mean, look,
Seth Rollins would have to lose his smile for something like that to happen.
Yeah, we're still pretty early in Triple H, from what we understand, being completely unfettered.
Yeah.
So exactly long term, heading into Mania, what's his philosophy going to look like? Attitude Era did some weird ass shit like that as well. So I would be surprised if they did an injury angle to vacate a title.
It wouldn't make any sense. No, not for a match, a WrestleMania match that could be money.
I can't think of anything close to that in NXT during his time there, and that's a good blueprint to use,
Yeah. No, nothing in Triple H's past seems to indicate that would be something he would pursue at all.
Yeah, right.
Wade had some more to say. Quote, I just think people who do know would go, oh, he's fine. It's no big deal. Blown out of proportion if that was the case. This was my long-winded way of saying I don't know, but I'm passing along transparently from one of the wrestlers who's around him Monday night after Raw and just said, I don't think it's good. My gut says injury. Maybe he'll work through it. He's tough. Another colleague of his said that he thought Seth, because of his history of injuries, would have had a good idea if he should finish a match with the injury and if he should be walking on it backstage because he finished the match, because he was able to walk on it, that it might be one of those situations where he just needs to rest for a few weeks, but even that wrestler wasn't ruling out that it could be worth. So, of course, Seth's had two significant knee injuries. One at a house show in a match against Kane, I think, where he blew out his knees when he was after he had won the title for the first time, and he had to vacate then. And he was out for 8-9 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Second was build up to WrestleMania 33, where Samoa Joe made his debut on Raw, got Seth in the clutch, and in the process of kind of twisting him around, Seth, I think, tore one of the ligaments on either the outside or the inside of the knee. He was able to work through that.
Yeah.
Because of what I guess wasn't as essential to the stabilization of the knee as, like, for example, the ACL. And maybe depending on the degree of the tear as well. So I mean, there's a broad spectrum of knee injuries, from full on blown out knee, everything is torn, to you strained it slightly.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and nothing. It's hard to tell if Seth hurt his knee during that moonsault spot, where it looked like his knees hit hard on the mat. It's not an obvious, when he blew out his knee against Kane, you see that footage, you're like, oh yeah, he blew out his knee.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah. Right.
Even the Joe one, you see his knee twist an interesting way. You're like, okay, that he might have hurt himself. Nothing we saw on Raw was to that degree, so it's harder to speculate about the nature of the injury. He just could have banged his knee really hard on the mat,
Yeah, right.
We don't know. He could have a bruised kneecap or something. So it may be a situation where it's just, I need a couple weeks off. Hey, this is a story beat we can hit hammering home, lead into WrestleMania about how I'm breaking down. And hopefully that's the extent of it. Hopefully if it's an injury, it's minor and he won't miss any time.
I would also, getting back to the idea that it could possibly be an angle, if that's the case, it would be, unless they are sort of reinvigorating the idea, given a kick to it. But, it's not like he walked into this saying, my back hurts. Yeah. It's not like, they after the Nakamura thing, to a degree, they kind of dropped the back thing, to the degree that we start sort of making fun of them.
Well, they mentioned it during the Drew story. I remember Drew's dropped him on the ring steps one of their matches.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And he made a point of saying, in the past, I would have had sympathy for somebody in that situation. So,
there was one, in the Nakamura feud, when he came walking down the aisle, holding his back, basically, being very delicate with it. I guess my point is, I wonder if this is an injury angle, if we would have seen a little bit more evidence with his promos, with with his presentation, with his character work leading up to this. But I mean, given maybe they think, hey, the back thing is there, and we're thinking of a title change, either at Mania or before Mania even. And, let's start laying the groundwork for that, because we want to protect Seth. And the only way he'll lose the title cleanly is if he's, in the universe, in the storyline, in kayfabe, busted up.
Yeah.
So, I think Monday, I would think at the latest, there'd be a lot of light shed on this situation.
You would think so. Yeah. That either, he has to come out and vacate, or he just shows up on Raw as if nothing happened.
Yeah, right.
And either is entirely possible.
And if
something in between,
And something in between would simply, be, hey, next week we're going to hear from Seth Rollins, or next week there's it's like, okay, well, maybe he just needs some time to rest it.
Yeah.
And I would imagine either way, we'll probably hear from one of the news outlets. This is the situation, because they seem to be on top of it. But interesting that people aren't really talking about it in Wade Keller's orbit, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Steve, someone I know you're fond of, John Felix Anthony Cena.
I get told a lot that I look like a less fit version of him. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So anyways, John Cena spoke with People Magazine. Remember People?
Yes. I'm well aware of yes, People. I remember People.
People Magazine. They still on newsstand? Or they got exclusively digital?
Bro. No, they're still on newsstands, I think. Now I'm second guessing myself. Next time I go to Winco, I'm going to see if there's a People on the stands, and I'll text you.
I don't know. The grocery stores I shop at, I don't notice the People Magazine at the newsstands.
Yeah, they still have tabloids, all the crazy shit.
I don't even notice those either, the grocery store I go to.
I wonder if you're just not sort of looking for them, because I always notice them. It's always something
usually,
about...
I go to Trader Joe. They don't have any magazines in the checkout, but sometimes I'll go to Rayleigh's or something.
Yeah, right.
And they'll have magazines, but most of those Best of Sacramento
there's a lot of foodie magazines too.
There's the foodie magazines there.
I
don't see the tabloids or People. or us.
Well, Winco attracts a certain element, Larson. Maybe people who might be interested in some sort of alliance between space aliens and Bill Clinton. I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? But we do know that John Cena recently spoke about what his WWE career might be coming to an end.
Those are just two topics that tabloids love: Bill Clinton
Yeah.
and fucking aliens, man.
Yeah. Because people asked him about when he was going to call it a career. This is what Cena had to say, quote, I turned 47 this past year, and I don't have much time left in WWE. I think it's just the demand of age. I'm trying to figure out when to close that chapter. I wouldn't be who I am personally or professionally. God, this sounds so much like John Cena without
It really
the WWE.
does, yeah.
And I promised myself that I would never simply just be there for my own sake. Every time I perform, I want to give my all to the audience. And I've got to admit, when I hit the 45 mark, I had to begin to try to form an exit strategy, and I'm trying to work on that currently.
So, we haven't seen the last of John Cena in WWE, evidently.
But we're close to seeing the last of John Cena in WWE, it seems like.
We are close to it. Was there some WrestleMania appearance streak that he had going, or maybe it was broken last time?
Oh, it was just he had a match every year since 2020 or 2002 or something like that he got in end of last year on the last day of the year. He had that tag match on SmackDown.
Okay.
So he can keep his streak of having one match every year for 20 years active.
All right.
That's
what it was. Thought there was a WrestleMania related one, but maybe
he's missed
not.
WrestleManias before.
Okay. So yeah, look, we've seen this coming for a long time. Kind of surprised that this last run wasn't a definitive last one. But I know Randy Orton recently said that he'd love to fight John Cena for the title in the main event at WrestleMania. So I don't know if that's going to be the thing, but maybe a title. Hey, maybe what Impact did. You already have 2 world titles. So yeah, I don't know what you do there.
I guess the question is, when Cena retires, do you have his last match be against one of his most famous rivals? For example, Randall Keith Orton. They were rivals for the better part of both their careers. Off and on.
I'll be honest, man. I kind of prefer that over. What is he going to pass another torch? Like
he's going to take the L to Cody. What if Cody retires John Cena?
I'd be happier with that because Cody's already a made guy. That's not to me, that's not necessarily passing a torch because I feel like Roman's probably going to do that at WrestleMania. Cody's there. He's the main eventer. When I think of passing the torch, I mean more like, the Austin Theory thing, which did nothing for nobody.
No,
I thought
John Cena knew it was going to do nothing for anybody.
Yeah, that was the jug. Yeah, that was the crux of his whole, build. Even the solo match, which I enjoyed how that played out. I thought it was unique and entertaining, just the endless spikes to the throat. It didn't really do much for Solo because especially at that point, getting a win on John Cena, they openly acknowledge he hasn't had a singles win in God knows how long. It was like 2018 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I guess apparently Solo hasn't won a match since beating John Cena.
How many matches has he even had since then?
I think they've all been tag matches. Or maybe LA Knight beat him. I think LA Knight beat him in a singles match.
I don't know what to do with Solo. I'll be honest with you. I kind of feel like I know what they were going for, but I feel like the NXT version of Solo was so much more interesting.
Yeah,
because he was like, screw you guys. You left me out on my own. I'm not part of the bloodline. Man, that would have been way cooler to explore that guy.
I agree.
Anyways, getting back to John Cena. I don't know, man. Cody would be fine, but that's still sort of in the, it's just not impressive to do that. If John Cena, if the build is, I'm handpicking my opponent as the guy that I see as the future of the WWE, or the guy that I see as the top dog. Yeah. Then I guess that like a bout of respect, it'd be the same thing against Randy Orton though. Hey, we've got a lot of history. I respect you. If there's anybody I want my last match to be against, it's going to be you,
It'd be cool if they could do something like Mickie James did in Impact.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Where he comes back for a sustained run, not like a month or two, but 6 or 8. And pretty much and we all know where it's going to end and how it's going to end. But the idea is, I'm going to keep going until I'm going to keep going and try to win that title, which for him would be the record-breaking one, at least by WWE's record books. He's number 17 and break Flair's record. And if I can't do that, I'm done.
Yeah.
That I don't got it anymore. If I can't go and win a title, then I can't. There's no point in me even trying to do this anymore. I'm done. Something like that. It would require him to carve out a significant chunk of his schedule to have matches on a regular basis, which I don't know if he can do at this point with his Hollywood career taking off. But something like that where it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and it comes to a conclusion, and whoever the champ is he faces off against and loses. At least there's a story there more than like, I'm going to retire and I want to face my most famous rival, Randall Keith Orton, in my last match.
Let me ask you this. WWE is all about, these days especially, shifting the landscape towards names and faces to have records or beating reigns. Faces and names that they're confident in, that they know are going to stick around. Gunther ain't going nowhere. Bianca's got the women's record. She ain't going nowhere. Roman's is going to have sort of the run of the modern age.
Yeah.
He may or may not get, surpass Hogan's reign, longest reign. They were, they sort of have talked about Bruno a little bit here and there on commentary. Flair right now has the record for number of runs. Now, Triple H is a big Ric Flair fan, obviously.
Yep.
At the same time, Ric Flair is like, one podcast appearance away from totally being canceled. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of a wild card. He has said stuff about WWE. He said that like his last communication, I think, with Triple H was not a great one. Is there any chance just to have a guy who is pretty much locked in to be, I mean, he freaking says the then, now, forever thing at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, the signature.
John, he's kind of the definition of a model citizen for WWE.
Yeah.
And given that he's basically a robot, that probably ain't going to change for the next 50, 60 years that he's alive.
Yeah.
Is there any chance he would break the record in a Rumble to Mania run of some sort?
It's entirely possible. Here's the thing. If WWE thinks there's money to be made doing it, they'll consider it. And if Cena could, say, all right, I'll give you 6 months to do the story, and then after that, I'm going to retire. I suppose it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Be. In which case you could get Orton. Look, if Orton thinks he's got another, given what he looks like,
he says he got another 10 years in him. So,
I mean, even if you split that in half, 5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And I think he's at 14. I mean,
13 or 14. Yeah. He said he wants a couple more. So,
yeah. And he's one of the most over guys still on the roster. You could do Cena Orton again and probably under Triple H make it pretty compelling.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, the two of his best friends, Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. I loved Flair's retirement match. Who could forget the I'm sorry, I love you,
Great.
End of an era. Oh my God. You think he wouldn't want to do that with like two of the modern day greats, Orton and Cena, Triple H writing that story? It's at least a possibility. And on top of that, to be able to say, when you look at the record books, Cena's got the record definitively. You don't have to worry about whatever Ric Flair is going to do or say.
It'd be interesting before we get to that point if Orton wins, whatever he needs to get to 15. And I don't know how you necessarily do it, but I mean,
ooh, I know where you're going. Yeah.
Where
whoever wins has the record.
Cena and
the record's Flair. On the line.
Exactly. Essentially, the record's on the line. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Would he need 3 more or 2 more? Because there's kind of a difference between 2 and 3, isn't there?
Oh, it is. It is a difference. But it'd have to be a triple threat in that situation. Then where you have Cena, Orton, and I don't know who else
Batista.
As champion walking in. Well, yeah, get Dave in there. Get Edge back. That was another one of Cena's, most memorable rivals. Something like that would work.
Yeah.
where they're both going for the record. But then the third guy in that match, like, what's the story there other than preventing two of the all-time greats from setting a new record?
Yeah.
I always get confused whether it's Triple H with 14 or Orton with 14, because one of them has 13, the other one has 14.
Orton is tied with Triple H
At 14?
at 14.
Okay, so two more.
Yeah. How about you do this? Triple H, Orton, Cena.
Well, Triple H can't wrestle anymore, man.
For the record. Flesh mech, baby.
Oh, touche.
How would you ever pass up an opportunity for Flesh mech, Larson? Before we get going on with our next story, do we have a next story? We have a next story.
We
don't
do.
We?
We're going
We
to
do
talk
have a next
about.
story. Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun times. Before we get to that, wanted to ask you guys a simple favor. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, hit the like button. It really helps Going In Raw really dig its claws into that algorithm. Slap it around a little bit. It says, push us, show us to people, expose us.
It also helps us just feel it's validation that we're liked and our work is valued and respected.
Makes me feel good. You know what it's like, Larson? When we get a lot of likes, it's like eating a piece of chocolate out of this bag right here. Hey, kid, you want a piece of chocolate?
What do you have in there?
Hey, kid, you want a piece of chocolate?
Are you making your own chocolate in your bathroom?
Yeah, I'm making bathroom chocolate. I'm making bathtub chocolate, kid. You want some? No, man. My boy Devin got me for Christmas. He got me like this big platter of chocolates.
Oh, I thought it was a Ziploc bag full of chocolate he got.
It was just no. It was a nice Hershey's one. It was presented properly.
Yeah.
And so I went
and
I
dump it all in a Ziploc.
Yeah, man. It was just sitting next to my bed. It was sitting next to my bed, buddy. And so I was like, man, I really want these to be in a place where I'm not openly ridiculed by my wife when she sees me wake up in the morning and reach over, give me my chocolate. So I put them all in a Ziploc bag. Hey, you want some bathtub chocolate? Get the like button.
Oh my gosh.
So, do that. Also, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 200,000 subs. Really, we want two numbers, 199,991, which is a palindrome. And then just past that, we want 200,002 subs. If we get there, we're going to do a short film, Larson, using my brand new camera.
You said that right. We're 656 subs away from 199,991. A palindrome.
I want to get there by the Rumble, man. That's only a week away. I want to get there by the
10
Rumble.
days away. 9 days away.
9 days. 9 days from today. 9 days from today is the Rumble. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Happy you mentioned Tony Khan and AEW because that relates to our next story.
Okay.
About them potentially signing a free agent. This comes to us from Lucha Blog.
Oh,
we love Lucha Blog.
Love Lucha Blog.
Love Lucha Blog. It's like our favorite stop to go for Lucha news.
Yeah, whenever watching a Triple Mania, I always have Lucha Blog on Twitter loaded up.
Yes, commentary is invaluable.
Yep.
So Lucha Blog is reporting that Black Taurus is likely headed to AEW, but will probably have to undergo a name and or gimmick change. So he presents this as follows on his website. It says, quote, Black Taurus is no more. The guy under the mask is fine. Let's call this man Bert, not his real name, or not a real name, to make this paragraph less confusing. Triple A owns the Taurus gimmick. That's not in dispute. Bert portrayed the Taurus character in AAA from 2015 to 2016. Bert then left AAA, modified the outfit and name ever so slightly, portrayed Black Taurus for a couple of years. Bert also registered the Black Taurus name and outfit and appeared on TV in Mexico for Lucha Libre Elite as that character. Bert returned to AAA in 2018. He resumed using the Taurus gimmick on AAA shows, but kept the Black Taurus branding for his outside independent work. That outside work included his time at Impact Wrestling, where Bert was billed as what, Steve?
Black Taurus.
Black Taurus. AAA appeared okay with that. AAA raised no objections of Bert using Black Taurus on indie shows or on merchandise. Bert, again, under Black Taurus, appeared in an ROH show and an AEW show. AAA was less okay with that. Lucha Blog continues. TV is the key here. AAA is probably not this upset if Bert is working on televised indies, and there's no reason for Bert to invest in a new character without TV promotion to get it over. It may take a few days for you to read the same information behind a paywall, but this means Bert's got an AEW/ROH deal.
I
So
like
similar-
that. I like that for the purposes of this story, Lucha Blog refers to basically Impact as an untelevised indie. I get his
Kind of.
point, though. I love Lucha Blog, and
I do
and-
too.
yeah.
I do too. So Penta's has something similar where
Yeah.
in AAA he's Pentagon Jr.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
But outside of AAA he can't use that name.
yeah,
But this seems to be going a step further
yeah.
where, and I don't know how wholesale of a change Bert Black Taurus is going to have to make to not, get the ire of AAA and potentially lawyers coming after him for violating their IP or what they think is their IP. But yes, Steve.
Does the name have to be in? Do they say it in Espanol or Inglés? Because Blanco Toro could be a good fit within Ingobernable I'm sorry, Negro Toro would be a good fit with Blanco Toro Rouge already in AAA. So I'm sorry, already in AEW in Ingobernables.
Yeah.
But then I don't know in AAA, commentary probably doesn't refer to him as Black Taurus. They probably refer to him as either Taurus Negro or.
Well, in AAA, he's
it's just Taurus.
just Taurus, yeah.
Is like if he used Toro instead of Taurus, how close can it be?
Yeah, I don't know.
In 10 years, Batman is going to be in the public domain, as is
know.
Superman.
I know.
But only the original iterations. Like, have you ever seen the original Superman chest logo?
Yeah, it's way different.
It's just like a triangle with like a really shitty S drawn in it, like a child did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna make that comic, by the way.
You should.
This is gonna be naked Superman.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's just he's gonna have it's just pantsless. He's gonna have everything up here and everything. He's just
There's no
hog.
pants. That's a
Got
terrible
to figure
idea.
out how big it is, though. Big decision to make. Got
It'd
10
be a
years.
bummer. Getting back to the Black Taurus situation here.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to this, Steve. It would be a bummer if he would have to alter his presentation too much because as it exists now, it's absolutely incredible.
Okay, so let's
And
talk
he's a
about
phenomenal wrestler.
that. No, he is a
awesome.
phenomenal wrestler. Isn't his gimmick now a bit on the limiting side? I feel like this is an opportunity. Because
I don't
that
know,
dude,
man.
that giant mask of his,
Minotaur seems like you're going to go places. If you're a Minotaur, come on.
like in reality, yeah, but
yeah.
especially if you're a pantsless one. But in the world of AEW, I don't know. And on top of that, I've seen this dude's social media, and granted, he doesn't show his full face, but there's been like his just his eyes are covered, and you can see he's got a great jawline.
Yeah.
You can tell this dude he's guapo, which I think means handsome. He's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
And maybe, I mean, dude, imagine if Roosh had that giant thing on his head.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to a degree, but I don't know if I'd see it as like, oh, this guy, he's going to be world champion, because you can't, there's
I get that.
The crowd,
that.
there's a separation there.
But at this point in his career, Black Taurus's career, like he's so identified with that gimmick that if he came into AEW without it, like there's nothing for people who know his work to necessarily latch onto immediately.
If I'm AEW, I bring him in and say, what do you want to do? Because we're not going to do that. Like you're right. Like if he can't use it, he can't use it. Like I'm assuming AEW, well, I don't know, but is your assumption that AEW is looking to get Black Taurus there, or the guy? Because like he's a good wrestler and they know they can work with him. He's a big dude, which they need.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the idea of
first
signing
and foremost is to get the performer. Mm-hmm. Because the performer is what really sells the packaging.
Yeah, right.
He's a phenomenal wrestler. He carries himself like a star. And yeah, his mask is amazing. And who's not to say that you can't make changes to the mask to avoid any legal entanglements with AAA, which who knows what AEW's relationship is with AAA these days.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what you do.
And keep with the spirit of the character.
This is what you do. This is simple. do a vignette at the very beginning before he even comes in.
Oh, with the thing and takes it off.
Takes off the mask and says, my name is, Billy Bob Joe.
Okay.
And I'm here to stay. Don't you know? And then he comes in and he's fucking badass.
To wrestle in AEW in a major way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What do you say? Yeah, man. He takes off. You know what he should do? Some really badass. Get whoever does Crazy Steve's face paint.
Oh, yeah, his face paint's good.
Or what's his name? Arez. My God, that dude's got next level face paint. But Crazy Steve's presentation's awesome. Yeah. Just do that. Some face paint. Face paint's really underrated. It's awesome. It's really
I think
cool.
So. You can get pretty creative with the face paint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Crazy Steve, his face paint's great.
That's what you do. Because I kind of feel like the mask is, you're relegated to the TNT title, man.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Imagine it, because if he's like, like just a godly looking face, that'd be great. It's like, oh my God, this guy, immediate world champion because he's like, a GQ cover model guy.
Plus amazing
make
wrestler.
Sure I got. Yeah. Did I get my Spanish right here? Guapo. Handsome things. Yeah, there. Handsome. You want some bag chocolate? You want some bathtub chocolate?
Before you indulge in your chocolate there, you want to answer a handful of questions.
Hey, you know what? Where did these questions come from, Larson? I'll answer that question for you. They came from the Friendo Club setup, because part of the Friendo Club setup is you get access to question threads. You can ask us questions all day long. I posted a question thread for this news brief, and then I posted a question thread for Friendo Cast, our bonus episode, which, by the way, also comes with the Friendo Club setup. Mm-hmm. And while you're asking us questions, you might as well participate in our Big Blue Predictions challenges. Yes,
got that right.
You get that as well with the Friendo Club setup. How do you get the Friendo Club setup? I'll answer that question as well. You click join on YouTube, dummy, or you go to patreon.com/Steven Larson. $5 there or $5 at the YouTube. Bang! You got yourself the Friendo Club setup. Any other questions, Larson?
I mean, we have more questions. Are you going to answer all the
questions?
The only
question I want to answer is you got some chocolate, some bathtub chocolate?
Ask yourself that question, Steve. What's the answer?
I got lots of bathtub chocolate here, kid.
By your bed, really?
Not anymore, though. Not anymore. Now it's by my desk.
Have you ever made some coffee and dropped a piece of chocolate in there? That might be good.
Oh, but that sounds good.
That might be good. You should try that. I've never done it. I'm just thinking that might be something. That might be up your alley. I'm not a huge chocolate guy.
You don't make it even better as if it was bathtub chocolate.
Well, that's what you have there.
I know. I got some bathtub
chocolate. So have at it.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll see.
Enough of your chocolate. Ty Moore here asks, with TNA bringing back the theme from the old days, what other things could TNA bring back? Fly on the wall backstage segments. 100 Jeff Jarrett's.
We sound like a broken freaking record, man, but that's absolutely right. The fly on the wall segments are the best. Yeah. And it's a great way to advance storylines and story beats. Doesn't feel forced. Bring that back.
Absolutely. Bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. Brandon Monroe here says, I know the best idea for Roman after losing is he goes away for a bit, but what if he came back as chill Roman a la Balloon Okada?
Oh, yeah.
Would you be into that? And what would chill Roman do? I don't think it'd be chill Roman. It'd be like despondent Roman, because that was Balloon Okada. He would have come back because he was really happy-go-lucky. He was trying to fill a void that after he lost his title.
Mm-hmm. With balloons, yeah.
With balloons and trying to appear outwardly happy. But he was miserable.
I don't want to see Roman Reigns despondent. I don't want to see that. I feel like it needs to be, yes, miserable, but overly aggressive. Like he comes back and he is miserable, but he's just a violent
So he's taking it out on everybody.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
How about this? He's miserable, and he's finding that no one really speaks to his angst until he starts listening to grunge music.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good.
He gets really into grunge. He wears like the flannel shirts, the Doc Martens,
That'd
all
be
that.
Sick.
He basically dresses like Raven.
Sandman shirts.
Yeah. So he starts dressing like Raven in WCW.
Yeah. He's like reading, he's like backstage, Seth comes up to him. He's like, hey, Roman. And Roman's like, I'm sitting here reading a comic book. And he's like, what is the comic book? And he's like, Naked Superman.
Gosh. By an up and coming artist.
Yeah, and Seth is it's like a young new superstar artist named Steve. And Seth's like, Naked Superman, how big is his hog? And he's like, he shows him, and Seth's like,
and it's like it's like it's like a 2-page
has
spread.
to be a double-page spread.
Yeah. Alex Foster here says, since the Young Bucks did Sting a favor, what favor would Sting ask of going in Raw? Oh, because Sting wanted to wrestle the Young Bucks in his final match. So they came back from their break early. Gotcha. Count out a top 10 neat things that Sting did.
Yes. Yeah, he saw the one we did on Edge.
Yeah.
And he was like, guys, I've done a lot of neat things in my career. Can you do one of those on me? And we'd be like, yeah, number one.
Yeah, I mean, you brought RoboCop to wrestling. Hell yeah.
That's number one. Teams
Absolutely.
up with RoboCop. Yeah.
Although, I don't know, number one might be when he had the Sting mask and revealed himself to be Sting. That was pretty awesome.
That's a good one, too. Yeah.
That's pretty great.
When he said 100 Jeff Jarrett's.
100 Jeff Jarrett's.
100 Jeff Jarrett's. Yeah, those are all really good.
Yeah, those are great.
That great telephone picture.
Fantastic.
That's like 4 or 5 right there.
When he was in WWE and they were going to unveil the Seth Rollins statue, but it was him instead. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty. Hey, I'll be honest, man. I like that 31 match. I like that WrestleMania 30. He should have won, but I like that match.
I'm happy you're coming around to Sting should have won that match.
Well, it's Sting Appreciation Month, so yeah. Now I'll be there once he's retired. Once he's gone, back to being a Triple H. Let me ask him. Is there like a major copyright issue or trademark issue if we just put up, those I'm a Paul Heyman guy shirts?
Yeah.
I'm a Triple H guy.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Right?
No.
There's no trademark issue with that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I want to make that shirt.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm a Naked Superman guy, but I can't do that for another 10 years.
Yeah, you got to wait on that one.
Got to wait till it's in the public domain.
Justin Sider here says, who is the worst case scenario opponent for Roman at WrestleMania?
Worst case scenario?
Worst case.
One that I wouldn't find terribly interesting would be Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't find that terribly interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of like undercard.
Like Chad Gable,
Yeah, I wouldn't make one ends. No.
Yeah, right.
That's not a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anybody, look, there's 5 people maybe that I'd be cool with. Like, I'd be cool with The Rock. It's fine. It's Mania,
Rock,
obviously.
Phil, Cody, Seth,
Phil, Gunther. Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, that's all the questions I got in the Patreon.
Okada.
That'd be great. I guess worst case scenario would be House of Torture's Evil.
That'd be awful. That'd be awful. Yeah,
just think of the overbooking in that match. All the House of Torture's antics plus the Bloodline.
Like Parker Boudreaux.
Oh, gosh.
That'd be pretty bad. Let's see here. I am the Rocky Feller says, would the Royal Rumble number roller... it says, would the Royal Rumble number roller... What are those things called?
The tumbler, yeah.
Yeah, the tumbler, yeah.
Yeah.
Would that work with today's production? Yeah, I would love that.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Equally Terrible says, out of Ronda Rousey, Bad Bunny, and Logan Paul, who do you feel would have had the best wrestling career if they did it full time? Logan.
Yeah, Logan. Ronda did for about a year do it full time.
Yeah, Logan has the mic skills and the athleticism and the psychology at this point, which is bizarre. He's had like 3 matches.
It's pretty impressive. He's had, 6 matches and is as good as what he is.
Yeah. Joe the Meme Maker says, could AEW benefit from an annual new match type? Blood and Guts is just War Games. WWE has the Rumble, Money in the Bank, and Chamber, plus tournaments are overdone. Do you think AEW needs sort of like a Rumble-esque annual thing? They got like the tournament, the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
They got blood and guts every year now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool if something sort of led to a title match somewhere.
You know, one of the more interesting things that Lucha Underground did was the Gift of the Gods title, which is its own championship. You can also cash it in, but the match they had to determine the new champion or defend it was like an amalgam Royal Rumble / gauntlet match type deal.
Yeah.
Where you could win or eliminate people not by just throwing them over the top rope, but pinning them or submitting them in the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be fun.
It'd be like
I know it's Lucha Underground, just taken from them, but it's a good idea, and they're not around anymore. So
do like, what is it? Which one is it that friggin' Triple H, Rey Reyes?
Yeah,
where we used to think it was elimination, but then it wasn't. All of a sudden,
it was at one point. I swear it was at one point.
Wasn't it? I think it was at one point.
But that's kind of the same thing. I think you can eliminate people by throwing over the top rope, but then also, pinning them.
Dave Matuchek, if you were to identify, this is the last one we got. If you were to identify each company's top champion as fast food, what would you list them as? What's Roman Reigns' fast food?
I mean, he's got to be the Big Mac, right?
He's the Big Mac. Yeah. Seth Rollins. He's the Whopper.
It's the Whopper. I was about to say the Whopper, yeah.
The Whopper. Top champion. What's Rhea Ripley? She's the Arby melt because she just melts my heart every time I see her.
Okay, that's good.
I turn into naked Superman. You want some chocolate? What about Naito? Doesn't give a shit.
Jumbo Jack. Whenever I eat a Jack in the Box, I feel like Jack in the Box doesn't give a shit. So
they didn't try. No effort was made into this creation.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And then who is it? Oh, Samoa Joe, who evidently is like a fucking ratings draw. Did you see the rating he got?
Yeah, I know. Huge number for
awesome.
Joe. That's awesome.
Man.
Yeah, I agree with what you put on Twitter. 2 hours Joe on Dynamite every week.
God, who would say no to that?
Must-watch television.
Dude, it is. Who would say no to that? Yeah, what is Joe, though? Beefy? For the intelligent person. Complex. The Baconator.
All right.
He's the Baconator. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Oh, man, who'd have thought this afternoon news brief was going to give us bathtub chocolate and naked Superman?
I know, and who'd have thought? Thunk it.
That's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.